It's not possible! No one's ever been able to...
Hey, what's up guys? It's NESHy, aka the Crystal Loner here. I'm here from Forbidden Squee, and yeah, lately I've been seeing a lot of guys with deckless, Crystal Beast deckless that say that they're really good, but they're running multiple copies of Ruby Carbuncle, and a lot of their ratios to me are wrong. And today I'm going to show you some advanced techniques, but also just reasons why these deck lists that I'm seeing are just wrong, and why you shouldn't be running multiple copies of Ruby Carbuncle. So let me show you a starting hand of 5 cards for Crystal Beast. You see, this is a very good hand. This is you're opening up with the Bond and the Tree, and you get options with Crystal Promise and Crystal Beacon with the bridge, and you get to draw from Rainbow Ruins. Now, the one thing that makes this hand a lot worse is that you're drawing into the Crystal Beast Ruby Carbuncle. This card you never want to see in your hand, you never want to draw into. It's like the Garnet of the deck, I keep saying, and it's really just... Look at how much worse this hand is thanks to this card. This could have been literally any other Crystal Beast in the deck. It could have been a Mammoth or a Cat or a Sapphire Pegasus. Like, this could have been anything else, but this hand's just that much worse because of drawing into the Ruby Carbuncle. Now, because of this, you want to obviously be able to get this in the Spell and Trap Zone, because that's when it's the most powerful. But in order to do that, you're going to have to lose advantage if you end up summoning the Sapphire Pegasus. First you activate Tree, and then Bond, search the Pegasus, and then you're going to crystallize a Mammoth. And then Crystal Tree gains a Crystal Fruit, and then you're going to normal summon the Sapphire Pegasus. And at this point you're going to want to put Ruby Carbuncle in the Spell and Trap Zone. And Crystal Tree is going to gain another fruit, pitch it, to add a Mammoth and a Pegasus, and crystallize them. And then you're going to activate Ruins and draw a card. But look, we could have had another card in our hand from that play, but unfortunately, since we drew into the Ruby Carbuncle, we're losing advantage almost. We're not making the most optimal play here. With this could have been a cat. This could have been an Amethyst cat or a Mammoth, and then instead of this Mammoth, we switched that out for the cat. That sets us up next turn if we want to Abundance, and then we can normal summon this Mammoth. Easy. But now, because of that Ruby Carbuncle in our hand, that makes it not as optimal of a play. Now, Ruby Carbuncle is the least powerful when it's in your hand. It's the most powerful when it's in the Spell and Trap card zone, obviously. So this is how the tier list goes for Ruby Carbuncle. So it's the most powerful in the Spell and Trap zone, because from here you can actually Crystal Promise it, and then special summon, obviously, and special summon the rest of the Crystal Beasts from your back row. Now, what you could do is, if you have 5 Crystal Beasts in the Spell and Trap zone, you can special summon the Ruby in attack position if you want to attack with it, but then that special summons the rest. So you have 2 options to special summon Ruby from your Spell and Trap zone, and this is why you also want to run Promise at 3, because not only is it awesome if you special summon the Ruby Carbuncle, but you could also special summon the Sapphire Pegasus and go +1. The whole point of Pegasus is to +1, and that's not going to happen if you have Ruby Carbuncle in your hand, because you're not plussing it all from that. Now, so Ruby Carbuncle is obviously the most powerful in the Spell and Trap zone. It's second most powerful when it's in the deck, because from there you can activate Crystal Beacon and special summon it. So if you have 2 or more Crystal Beasts in the Spell and Trap zone, preferably as many Pegasuses as possible, you can activate your Crystal Beacon. Got the Hobby League Parallel Rare one. Looks pretty nice. Activate Crystal Beacon, special summon Ruby Carbuncle from deck, and from there you can special summon and go into Link or Xyz plays. So that's why Crystal Beast Ruby Carbuncle is the second most powerful in the deck. Also because you can still grab it with Pegasus from the deck. and you're not losing advantage that way. So if you normal summon a Sapphire Pegasus, then you can grab Ruby from the deck, and you're not losing advantage. Now, while it's in the hand, and you normal summon Pegasus, Sapphire Pegasus, then you crystallize the Ruby Carbuncle from your hand. That's not giving you any advantage. That's not plussing that, which is what Sapphire Pegasus is designed to do. Now the tier 3, so tier 1 we have Ruby Carbuncle in the Spell and Trap zone. Tier 2 we have it in the Monster zone. No. Tier 2, my bad, we have it in the deck. Tier 3, it's actually a tie between having Ruby Carbuncle on the field and having it into the graveyard. Now, the advantages of having it on the field, you can use it for link plays like Landfarincus, or you can link 3 into Decode Talker. That's good, having Ruby Carbuncle on the field. Or if you really want to, if you're really pushing for game, you can attack with it. That extra 300 really does make a difference. Now, also tied with Ruby Carbuncle being on the field, it's also very powerful in the graveyard, because from there you can actually swipe it back with Sapphire Pegasus. Now, while it's on the field, you can't put it in its most powerful spot, which is the Spell and Trap zone. But when it's in the graveyard and you summon a Pegasus, then you can crystallize your Ruby Carbuncle from the grave. You can also activate Monster Reborn and special summon Ruby Carbuncle from your graveyard. That's also an awesome play that you can use to utilize Ruby Carbuncle being in your graveyard. And that's why Ruby is the third most powerful, either on the field or in the grave. Now that leaves, obviously banished Ruby Carbuncle that's going to be the least powerful position. But if we're playing the way this deck is supposed to be played, that banishing obviously you're not going to do on your own. But that's going to leave Ruby Carbuncle being the least powerful in your hand. Do you see what I'm saying here? Like, obviously the goal of Ruby Carbuncle is to put it in the Spell and Trap zone. That's what you want to do 100% of the time, unless you want to somehow gain advantage in another way. That's going to be by predicting your rare value from your opponent. Obviously, if you rare value and you have Ares Rock Sunrise in your hand, say, and you wanna try and predict your opponent is going to send the Ruby Carbuncle. If they have a head on their shoulders, they're going to want to send the Ruby Carbuncle. So they're going to want to send a Pegasus, definitely, and you draw your 2 cards. Let's draw our 2 cards, and then from there you can Ares Rock Sunrise the Pegasus, and then you can add Ruby Carbuncle to your Spell and Trap zone. That's a scenario in which you wouldn't want to add Ruby Carbuncle to your Spell and Trap zone. Now, obviously, if you have Monster Reborn and your opponent sends Ruby off of the rare value, then that's when you'd want to add Ruby to the Spell and Trap zone. I hope you all are enjoying the video so far. So I've written up a tier list for Ruby Carbuncle when she's the most powerful. So tier 1 is when she's in the spell zone as a continuous spell, tier 2 is when she's in the deck, tier 3 is when she's on field or in the graveyard, and bottom tier is when she's in the hand. Obviously, banished would be the least powerful, but the way the deck would naturally run, hand is naturally the least powerful. Now, next let's talk about some combos and cool things that you can do with Crystal Beasts. Hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Let's say you open with this hand. This is the greatest hand you would ever open with Crystal Beasts. This is what you'd want to do. You want to activate Terraforming, search for Rainbow Ruins. You can go ahead and activate it if you want. And then from there you activate Crystal Tree. And then activate Crystal Bond so that you can actually gain Crystal Fruit on the tree. And then from the bond you want to crystallize the Ruby Carbuncle and add Sapphire Pegasus to your hand. And then Crystal Tree will grow a Crystal Fruit. From there, normal summon the Pegasus, and then crystallize an Amber Mammoth. Crystal Tree grows another fruit. This is when you're going to send it to grave and crystallize 2 more crystal beasts. That's going to be Mammoth and another Pegasus. From there, you're going to Crystal Beacon and then special summon a Sapphire Pegasus from your deck. And since Sapphire Pegasus resolves in another chain, you're able to use its effect and grab another Crystal Beast from your deck. This is when you're going to want to add the cat. This is the part when you special summon the Ruby Carbuncle using Rainbow Ruins effect. Obviously you can draw a card first from that. And then after you special summon the Ruby Carbuncle, special summon Sapphire Pegasus. Amethyst Cat would be the play to make here. And then from Sapphire Pegasus's effect, and from there you crystallize another Mammoth, and then you're going to overlay into Baguska, switching these monsters to defense position, and then you end your turn. And check this out. From that play, we got a draw from Rainbow Ruins. Let's go ahead and pretend we did that. We have Aerzrock Sunrise. That can be any other card. It's really a 4-card combo. That's what it is. But I know 4-card combo, that's like, oh man, that's not good. What are you talking about? But these can all be searched. Rainbow Ruins can be searched. That's what makes this combo able to be, utilized pretty decently. And now your opponent can activate monster effects, and you have 3 negates on board. This is an awesome opening board that your opponent will have a tough time breaking, and you have a very good chance of opening up with it. Now I know my Crystal Beast deck list didn't have a 3rd Amber Mammoth, but I'm trying to figure out room to put them in. I think I might take out a rare value for it, but I'm still trying to figure out how to add in another Amber Mammoth, because this combo is very good, and it's actually won me a game, and because my opponent just couldn't get past it. And you're able to really just open up for plays the next turn, because if you switch Baguska to attack position, your other cards are live. And it's really awesome that way. You can really just make this into Lamphorhynchus, and then you can add Ruby Carbuncle to your Spell and Trap zone by Monster Reborning it, or if you want to instead go for Decode, you can, and then Aerzrock Sunrise the Pegasus, crystallizing your Ruby Carbuncle. That is an awesome opening board for Crystal Beasts, and you can also follow up with it. Now let's talk about Crystal Master. Crystal Master is your last ditch searcher because he eats up a normal summon in order to search, but he's also just an awesome card in this deck because he's won me a couple games. If you top deck Crystal Master, it doesn't matter that you get the normal summon if you can actually get the abundance off, which I've done a couple times, and it's really been clutch. Now the correct play to make in this scenario is you Crystal Bond, you crystallize the Ruby Carbuncle, add the Sapphire Pegasus to your hand, normal summon the Pegasus, and you can go ahead and crystallize an Amber Mammoth. And then next turn, you're going to normal summon Crystal Master and search for another Crystal Bond. Now, that's the correct play to make, in my opinion, because you're plussing hard off of Crystal Bond still. Because if you waste your normal summon from Crystal Master, that Crystal Tree doesn't matter. Crystal Tree is only a +1 if you're able to crystallize 2 Crystal Beasts in the same turn. Now, Crystal Bond is just a +1 every time. Essentially a +2. Crystal Beast can actually +2 because of Bond. This is what this deck needed, because now they can +2. And next turn you can crystal. It's unfortunate that you opened with a Crystal Master. This is also not a good card to open up with, but it's great to draw into when you need it. That's why you're running one of, because you don't really want to open up with it early game. You'd rather have other Crystal Beasts in your hand besides Ruby Carbuncle, obviously. Now, the argument could be made that you're running multiple Ruby Carbuncles so that when you activate Crystal Beacon, then you can you're able to summon another Crystal Beast Ruby Carbuncle from your deck. Now, the problem with this is that, yeah, it's awesome running multiple Ruby Carbuncle, but, you know, Sapphire Pegasus is another fine target as well for Crystal Beacon, because you're still plussing 1. The Ruby Carbuncle is only really a plus if you special summon a Sapphire Pegasus from the Spell and Trap Zone. If you open up Bond and you normal summon the Sapphire Pegasus, Crystal Beaconing out another Ruby Carbuncle, that's not going to do anything for you. So special summoning Ruby Carbuncle is only super good if you have multiple Sapphire Pegasuses in the Spell and Trap Zone. Because essentially special summoning Ruby Carbuncle gets rid of all your back row advantage. Back row advantage is a thing in Crystal Beast. Now, one deck list I saw even said Cobalt Eagle is pretty much just a worse Pegasus. What's up with that? Cobalt Eagle is not any shape or form a Pegasus, because the reasoning was that you would summon him and then he would send a Pegasus back to the top of the deck. You're minusing, my friend. That is not a good play, because you're minusing, and then only after you draw into the Pegasus and then normal summon him, and then you add another Pegasus, obviously not from your hand. Only then, because Pegasus plus is 1, only then will you go 0 from that play. And you go 0. I don't see any scenario where you would be that desperate for a Crystal Beast in the Spell and Trap card zone that you would need to go for that play. Cobalt Eagle doesn't even have a good enough attack for him to be used for the Abundance OTK 1400, because that's the reason why we run the double or triple Mammoth, because that's when he pushes for damage, because that extra 300 attack really does make a difference, as evidenced by Ruby Carbuncle, because after you attack with the Ruby Carbuncle even, it just takes a Gaga Cowboy away to blow up your opponent. Therefore, Cobalt Eagle is not a card that you should be considering for Crystal Beast deck, at least a competitive Crystal Beast deck, so he's out of the question. Especially thought of as a just as good Sapphire Pegasus. Now, in terms of just what you want to do with Sapphire Pegasus, the rule that I always say is that you always want to keep one in your hand or in your deck. Whenever you're going crazy with the Crystal Tree and you pitch Crystal Tree to grave, then you don't want to add another Sapphire Pegasus after you've already added the one. Because you're going to normal summon this one, add a Mammoth or the Pegasus, and then you're not going to add the third one. You always want to keep this one in your deck for the Crystal Beacon target, or unless it's in your hand, so that you can always have the Sapphire Pegasus to rely on to plus for your next play. That's why you always want to keep it in your hand or in your deck, and you don't want to just turbo them out as soon as possible. The only time I can see you doing that is if you have the Abundance the next turn, and you want to make sure that you can set up back row after the Abundance so that you can go in for the OTK. You activate Crystal Abundance. You send 4 Crystal Beast cards for cost, so that would be awesome if you could leave them out here, and then your opponent tries to respond, you can negate it with your Sapphire Pegasus. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So you Crystal Abundance, send 4 for cost, wait for your opponent's response, and then go ahead and send all your cards on the field to the graveyard. Usually your opponent won't have a response. Usually it's just getting rid of their cards so that you won't be able to summon as many Crystal Beasts as possible. You always want to summon triple Pegasus and double Mammoth, because this will maximize the damage for the OTK. So if you have this board after the Abundance, and you attack your opponent and they don't die, then this is when you're going to link 3. You want to link 3 your Pegasuses away first so that they can go to grave and they're not stuck on Baguska. Into Decode, and then go into Baguska. This is the play that you want to make, and this is what you want to do after the Abundance if you don't kill your opponent. And if you have Amethyst Cat in your hand, then you want to go for the Cowboy, and then next turn you can normal summon Amethyst Cat for game. Trust me, that does happen. You'd be surprised. So that's it, y'all. Hope you enjoyed my rant and hope you enjoyed watching my advanced Crystal Beast techniques. Crystal Beast, it may be an old archetype, but it's definitely got a high skill ceiling, as you can tell. And it's been an archetype that I've been enjoying for a little while now. Been playing since 2012. Now, clean up your Crystal Beast decks. I hope you learned something from watching this video, and I hope you all have a great day.